Hello, my name is Joel Connor, and this is my speech for COM 115. I'd like to introduce my audience, my fiance Justin, my future mother-in-law Paige, and her boyfriend Jimmy, my good buddy. I have already passed out paper handouts of 3 pictures. Alright, and I'll ask my audience to look at these 3 pictures and just kind of see which one you think is more dangerous out of the 3. And you might be thinking it's texting, because it's a picture I'll show you guys on the camera. I'll post it online so you can look. You might be thinking it's texting, or they might all be the same amount of danger involved. And the latter is right. All 3 of these activities behind the wheel are considered distraction. And according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, distracted driving related car accidents kills more than 3,285 people a year and injures another 386,900 people a year, and that's just in the US. I chose this topic because it's important. It is dangerous to drive while being distracted, and eating goes into that category. And it's one of those things that you could prevent. It's a death that many people have a year, and you could actually prevent this. It's not a skin cancer or things that, well, I guess it's not good because you could use sunscreen, so that's preventable. But other diseases, that aren't preventable, diabetes that you can do nothing about. This is one you can prevent and save some lives. In this speech, I will go over 3 different types of distractions, how you can eliminate the distractions, and finally, describe how much safer the streets and highways will be if we were to go with my ideas for eliminating these distractions and eating while driving. As humans, it is our nature to try to multitask, to try to save time, to cut corners, to always fill every second with doing something. That's human nature, but the fact of the matter is we are not good multitaskers, and that's what leads to all these tragic accidents. There are 3 categories of distractions that I want to talk about. The first is manual distraction, and that is a distraction where you take your arms or your hands and you're either eating, drinking, and you're just taking your hand off of something that's imperative to drive. The steering wheel, or if you're driving a manual transmission, the stick shift. 2 is visual distractions. These distractions keep your eyes off of the important roads. You're focusing your eyes on your cell phone screen, or the cheeseburger in your hand, or the french fries on your seat. You're just keeping your eyes off the road where they should be. 3rd is cognitive, and that's just your mind's elsewhere. Your mind's somewhere else besides the road, and that can be the most dangerous. If you're thinking about, that Big Mac's gonna taste awesome when I go through that drive-thru, or your mind's somewhere else besides where it should be, and that can cause accidents. And those are the 3 kinds of distractions. So I ask you again to look at these 3 pictures, especially the eating while driving. Wouldn't they all fit into those distraction categories? Mm-hmm. All 3 are equally as distracting. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration did the numbers and came up with a statistic. Distraction driving increased the chances of a wreck by 80%. That's pretty incredible. But there's good news. This can be prevented. This is why I believe the only way to prevent these deaths is to have a law in place that bans eating while driving. We have one here in Montana for cell phones and driving, and as you can see, as I've shown on these papers, that they are all the same kind of danger and distraction. So it makes sense that food would be on that list as well. There is no other solution. And with this many deaths yearly, these deaths due to destructive driving can be eliminated. This isn't something that should just fall on the shoulders of law enforcement or the lawmakers. Even if there's no law, this is something we could be aware of as people on the highway, people driving the streets, pedestrians. We all have the need to look out for one another on the roads, and that includes being aware of what we're doing to make the roads more dangerous. And I said again, there is no other solution. Finally, in my conclusion, in the speech, I went into detail on 3 different kinds of distractions behind the wheel of a motorized vehicle. What can be done to prevent these accidents? And finally, the consequences of ignoring these glaring problems. If we do nothing about it, it will just get worse. So I ask you, is eating while driving worth the risk? Are we so much in a hurry that we can't get home before we eat our drive-through or our takeout? Or that we can't pull over for 5 minutes in a rest area? When lives are at stake, innocent lives, we owe it to everyone sharing the roads and highways to make these safe decisions and not eat while we drive.
Great.
Don't drive distracted.
Distracted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any
I'll field questions now.
are there any states that you know of that have eating and driving laws?
There are no laws at this time that prevent you from eating and driving. There are distraction laws, and then they're
Like
very
cell
vague.
phones.
Yeah, they're very vague in that they say anything that would distract you, but there's no direct evidence saying
Like you couldn't get pulled over if you're
you couldn't get pulled over right now,
Hmm.
and I'm hoping that changes.
What do you suggest people do who are on road trips? When they
Well,
want to make good time?
plan ahead. If you know you need to stop and eat 3 or 4 times a trip, leave that much more earlier from your destination or from your point of origin. Just leave early, prepare, pack lunches, go to, take a break, pull into rest areas, eat, enjoy yourself, let the dogs play. It's all a good opportunity to do those things. There's no rush to get to where you're going. It can wait 5 minutes and it could save, from what the stats say from the National Highway Safety Traffic Administration, you could save 3,285 lives a year if everyone just stopped when they were hungry.